Thanks so much for joining us today. Welcome to Cavan. Firstly, I wanted to ask, do you have any advice for teenagers that maybe wanted to pursue a career in politics in the future?
Well, I think it is to listen, develop the capacity to listen, read widely, keep an open mind, stay curious, be committed. Above all else, have courage. When you have arrived at a moral and an ethical position, you must have the courage not only to hold it for yourself, but to share it with others. That's what Michael Davitt advised before the Land War, and I think he had a good point.
Have you always been interested in politics since you were younger, or did it just come as you got older?
No, I think curiously it was because of the aunt and uncle who reared me, more or less taught me to read from the headlines in the newspapers. So it was the one thing that they had, even though they had a very small house and a very small farm, but they read about what was going on in the world. I think a lot of it had been because an aunt of mine had worked in the World War I as a nurse, and they'd always been interested about what was going on. And at that time, when I was very young, it was a time when people would be hearing news about the war, World War II. But then I became interested myself as well in the sheer unnecessary futility of why should it be so hard to have an education? Why should it be so difficult to provide decent housing and all of those? So the views that I formed are ones that were formed very early, and I was probably as much drawn in my convictions from my practical experience as I was from what I would later read. But I'm absolutely convinced now that we need, in fact, to continually redefine our position in terms of values that are ones of equality and solidarity.
When you were younger and you were reading the papers and stuff, did you ever imagine that you'd be the president?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I very much knew that I would be, probably knew that I would be making, that I would live in the public world very early on. From once you start speaking in public, you begin to connect your own life to what's happening historically all around you, and I think that's how it came to be. I'm very, very privileged, and it is a great honour to be President of Ireland, and Sabina with me. And what I do is very much trying, in fact, to use this period of time, a difficult time for Ireland, to stress all of the possibilities that are there, and that's why I come to why I do so many different events, but also why in the quiet times I'm trying to think out new strategies and new directions, and that's why you'll find them in my speeches, including, for example, my consultation last year with Being Young and Irish, which meant coming into contact with over 800 young people, and now I'm on to my wider discussion, which is really prompted by what some of the young people wanted as well, and that is a discussion how we can live ethical lives together here and in the world.
And finally, how important do you think it is for young people to get involved with politics, and how?
It's absolutely impossible it's absolutely important to become involved, and there is nothing as ridiculous or as wasteful or as uncool as being cynical. Being cynical is ridiculous. I think that being involved is very impressive. And the other thing about it is, as I said at the end of the Being Young and Irish consultation, young people themselves decided to draw up a charter, take charge of change, be the arrow, not the target, be active rather than passive, and then the world is wide open for all the changes we need.
Okay, thank you so much for
You're
joining
very
us.
welcome.